Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Yamaha Late Night Show. Great to have you here with us. Wow, look at that. We have people dancing already. All right, just hearing the intro music. That's what we like. That's the energy we're looking for. And I'd like to welcome you all to our second panel discussion here at the Musikmesse 2018. And today we'll be talking about the future of music. And we've invited three special guests here today who all know their way around in music. And I'd like to welcome them with a big round of applause. We'll get to know them as soon as they're here on the couch. So please welcome Andy Varley, Duncan Dick, and Nick Pitts. Welcome. Nice to have you. Hey there. Great to have you. Have a seat, gentlemen. So, how's everybody doing today so far? Great. All right. Everybody, you got a mic? You got one or two, right? And just pass them on. All right. So first off, we want to talk about, of course, the future of music. And, you know, with today's technological features, apps, everything that's going on, we just want to know your opinion on what we can expect in the future of music. And maybe you can introduce yourselves just real briefly here for the audience. Maybe you want to start it off, Duncan?
Sure. Well, my name's Duncan Dick. I'm the editor of Mixmag, which is a dance music magazine based in London. We cover dance music and club culture. We started off as just a newsletter for DJs back in 1983. And so obviously we've seen a lot of changes down the years in technology, in culture, and just in the rise of electronic music to become probably the dominant force that it is today.
All right, thank you very much. Andy?
Hi, my name's Andy Varley. I'm the founder and CEO of the Insanity Group of companies. Insanity Group is a 360-degree global entertainment company. We have a management business which represents talent across the areas of music, TV and radio broadcast and digital. And we also have a joint venture record company with Sony Music UK. Insanity is celebrating its 21st birthday this year, and as I'm sure you can imagine, over those 21 years, we've seen a huge change in the way that music is consumed. I guess I'm coming at this panel more from a business angle. So yeah, that's me.
All right.
And finally, I'm Nick Pitts. I'm content director of Jazz FM. We are the world's largest English-speaking jazz media. We this year celebrate our 28th birthday, based in London, and we are about 2.5 weeks away from the Jazz FM Awards, which is our biggest event in the calendar that celebrates the genre jazz, soul and blues with much showbiz.
All right.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, so true experts in music here from all different corners. How did you get started? I mean, was this, let's say, like a lot of our musicians and experts we had here on stage before, they started off playing the piano, were in bands, and then eventually moved on to other positions. Was it similar?
Well, I don't really have much musical skill, as anyone who saw me playing the drums earlier will know. But I got really into club culture just when I was a student, really. I liked hanging about early in the morning, late at night.
Right.
I liked mixing with the DJs. I liked being around really creative people, from the people who dress the club and come up with the flyers to the people who play the music. And I found out I liked writing about them. And so, yeah, I've just been very lucky to be surrounded by, you know, dance music is some of the most passionate people in the world about music. It's got some of the most innovative technologies, and it's a real privilege to be surrounded by that every day.
That's where you're in the position you are. How about you, Andy?
It's similar to Duncan, actually. I don't necessarily have any musical experience at all. I was actually thinking last night, my first kind of experience of working with a Yamaha product was probably age kind of 13, starting secondary school, having the dreams and ambitions of being a drummer in a rock band, and then was told very quickly that because I had zero hand-eye coordination, it meant that I couldn't play the keyboard, and in turn I wasn't allowed to take drum lessons. So I kind of quickly decided that if I couldn't play a musical instrument, be in a band, that instead I'd kind of focus more on the business side.
Right.
And so age 17, I set up Insanity initially as a company promoting club nights in Kent in the UK where I grew up. And then I guess like over the last kind of 20 or so years, the company's evolved into being this global 360-degree company. So yeah, unfortunately can't play any instruments and instead focus on helping those that can.
And how about you?
Apparently, according to my mother, my first word was some version of music rather than mum, which quite upset her somewhat. And as a kid, I learnt the guitar, then piano, and also dabbled in the drums, but I was pathetic on all of them. So in the end, I even tried in my mid-30s to pick up playing the piano again and started lessons again and failed miserably again. So walking around here today, seeing all these instruments and all these people playing, it kind of makes me want to, mid-40s, try again.
Right.
But I love music. I've been surrounded by it my whole life. But I very young decided if I couldn't be a musician, I wanted to work in broadcast and in radio.
Right.
So my career has been about broadcasting music, and right now, I've been with Jazz FM for 10 years and content director for nearly 5. My role is to the UK is to introduce new, incredible jazz, soul, and blues, along with some amazing catalogue as well. So my passion is in listening. I'm so into the production side of things as well. It really drives me also how it sounds in a recording and in a live setting. So as much as I'd love to play, I have an absolute passion for it.
And I guess that's the main thing. That's the main key. To have a passion for it, to love music, no matter if you actually play an instrument or not, no matter if you're in a band or not. I mean, that's the thing. That's what music does. It basically connects everybody from all corners of the world. And I guess that's also what we want to talk about. I mean, how can we ensure that making music stays fun with all the pressure there is today on musicians? Doesn't matter where they're from, but it's basically like everybody has the need to succeed in a way. How can we keep this on a fun level?
I think at a very basic level, something that's become so important in the last couple of years.
We try to tone that down if we can, because it is very loud.
Well, in the last couple of years, actually the Me Too movement has really opened my eyes to how important it is to build a safe and supportive environment for people with talent, especially people from, not your typical privileged white male background. Just reading about some of, it's everywhere from the dance music world to even the world of punk, which everyone thinks is so socially liberal. Some of the stories and experiences can be pretty horrendous. Then on the other side, you can see at the moment there's so many great singer-songwriters coming through, female singer-songwriters, who've built a kind of community that's to support each other, to make sure that they've got a safe environment where they can express themselves. And I think just, it's all of our responsibility to make sure that people aren't exploited, that people aren't harassed, and just a basic safety issue like that.
Talking about women in music, we had a panel discussion here earlier on with some very inspiring, fantastic women in music, and it's just incredible if you think about how rare it is to find a woman in a certain position in music. There's representation as well. You'd want to see more women in management roles in the industry as well, because that diversity just contributes to building that supportive environment with role models and just allowing people. What we do is we try and facilitate talent and connect it with an audience, and the more diverse that talent is, the better for everyone. The better.
I mean, just walking around here today, we say about passion, and I think the two things that that makes music so important is passion, and also it's about being relevant to your audience and your musicians of today. So seeing the technology around here, I've seen so many smiles around, people playing and performing music today. And, just before we came on air and did this, there was a bunch of young people singing away around a piano, and you looked over and the smiles on their faces. And I think that's really important, is the relevance. In broadcast media, we have to try and remain relevant to a younger audience to let it grow and let it continue. And I think going to the heart of it, which is the musical instrument, I think that some of the technology that is there will absolutely work to bring music to a new audience, of performers and of listeners and of people who enjoy it. And it'll go on to version 3.0 of music, I think, at the moment.
Do you find it more difficult to stay relevant for a younger audience currently?
So, I mean, our audience is at a constant level. And I think those listening to music ears, from a broadcast point of view, it's just about competition of brands out there who are trying to get the ears. So what you have to do is use the music and use the community or not use, that's horrible, but absolutely understand those two elements to make it relevant to what you're doing. But I mean, there's so much amazing performances and performers and music out there. It's about curating that correctly. But it all has to start with an idea, and it has to start with a passion to get it there.
Right.
I think also as well, you mentioned about the point of the pressure in the music business, especially to stay relevant and to sustain a long career. And I feel like certainly in my career in music management, I've been privileged to work with many artists that have sold millions of records globally. But I remember one particular client of mine who had a really strong foundation in the world of drum and bass music, and throughout his career had always maintained a huge amount of relevance within the scene that he was a part of. And almost like by chance, he put out a record that became very popular. It ended up shooting to #1 in the UK charts. And then I guess you then face this constant battle of, how do I stay relevant, but how do I protect my credibility? And I think as soon as you get into that cycle of releasing music to kind of tick the boxes that are required by record companies to stay on radio and to stay at the top of the charts, you're constantly chasing your tail. And I feel like a lot of those artists over the years, they then find themselves in this kind of slight moral dilemma. They've obviously been paid a hell of a lot of money by their record company, so they need to deliver a product. But at the same time, maybe they don't want to make records that are going to be pop records and played on radio. And so I feel like then it comes on to this whole issue surrounding mental health in the music industry. And I feel like those artists that are constantly battling with their inner demons of, how do I stay cool and current, but how do I stop myself from, in inverted commas, selling out, that can lead to some sort of self-inflicted pressures. And also the combination of the self-inflicted pressures and the pressures put onto you by your record company can often lead to artists maybe feeling they either don't want to make music anymore, or they don't feel comfortable or excited to be going back into the studio. And then I guess our job as managers is to really ensure that we're kind of protecting those artists and giving them the space that they require, so that if they do come into this issue of mental health and how that is affecting them, then I guess for us, we have to put aside the fact that I guess we're there to kind of further their career, and actually we need to start to take care of them mentally as well.
Right. I guess you've experienced this a lot, that an artist loses his creativity, his motivation, whatever. Would you say that also has to do with the fact that, I mean, labels, managers, whoever want to control them from the beginning? It has a lot to do with losing their independence. Is that, how do you find a balance there?